Good afternoon. This is Larry Tentarelli with today's edition of Your Daily 5 for StockCharts.com. I've brought with me today 5 stock charts that are very high on my list that I'd like to share with you, and we'll go right into the charts. So we'll start. Brief introduction about me. My name is Larry Tentarelli. You can find me on Twitter at LMT978. If you'd like to visit our website, I'm the president of Blue Chip Daily Trend Report. You can find us at bluechipdaily.com. You can go there, see some of my technical analysis on the markets and charts. Also, we have a 30-day free trial if you are interested. So we'll get started with 5 focus list charts. Most of these I've got positions in. So we're going to start with Nvidia. And obviously, the NASDAQ 100 stocks have had a very, very strong run year to date. So they're pulling back right now. We'll take a look at the Nvidia chart. So obviously, it's in a longer-term uptrend. It's trading over 4 rising moving averages. But here's the key levels that I'm watching. So it recently made a new all-time high at 480 and change, which is constructive. It's pulling back here. A lot of the NASDAQ 100 stocks have been pulling back for the past few days. They've got NASDAQ 100 rebalancing with some of the mega caps. We have earnings that are underway right now. But what I'm looking at with Nvidia, and I do have a long position here. We've had it going back to the April-May range, and we have booked some gains recently just because I want to be proactive, seeing what happened with Tesla yesterday, where we have a position there, and seeing what happened with Netflix. I do want to be proactive with booking some gains. But key levels on the Nvidia chart: 440 is first support. We can see 439.90 was prior resistance. So 440 on any pullback would be the first level that I would look at. The 20-day moving average is at 434. So we'll call it 435, 440. But really the key line in the sand, at least for the near term breakout, is $400. So if Nvidia does pull back more, I'd like to see $400 hold. Also, this rising 50-day moving average is very quickly moving up to 400. So we've got a position here. We have booked some gains, but on any real pullbacks, I'd want to see this 400 to 440 range hold on the chart. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll move to chart number 2. We're going to stay in the NASDAQ 100, and we'll move to Meta in communication services. A lot of us know it as Facebook. But Meta also, same situation as Nvidia, very strong uptrend. It made a new 52-week high 2 days ago, pulled back to the 20-day. So key levels here: 300 is the first level that I'd like to see this recover over 300. But then below that, 275 is good support. So we can see 276 was a very, very short-term resistance level. There was some consolidation in this 275 to 290 range. So we've got the 50-day moving up. Now, we did book some gains in Meta also as well over the past few days. We booked some this morning at the open. But I would like to ideally see this 20-day moving average hold. It had a little bit of a drawdown below there, a little bit below there. And then if for some reason we test lower, I'm looking for 275 to be a backstop line in the sand. Now, Meta does have earnings next week. They've performed very well after earnings recently, so we'll keep an eye on that chart. But I'd really like to see it hold the 50-day. Now, if for some reason Meta closes below the 50-day, then that starts to jeopardize that intermediate term uptrend that's been in place for quite a while. So 275, we'll call that the line in the sand for Meta for the intermediate term uptrend. Next, we're going to move to equal weight S&P 500. So we recently started a position in this ETF. We've got a full-size position, and there's a couple things that I like about this ETF. So we'll start with the basics, then we'll move on to the chart. But we've been very heavily overweight NASDAQ 100 stocks, triple Q, XLK, very heavily overweight for the past few months. We have dialed back a lot of those positions this week ahead of earnings. We still have the positions, but we want to book those gains while they're there in case we get a surprise next week from earnings like we saw with Tesla yesterday. So what I like about this RSP ETF is it's an equal weighted S&P 500. So basically all 500 stocks that are in the S&P 500 are fairly equally weighted. So the largest sector here is the industrial sector. The second largest sector is the financial sector. And then tech is at 13%. That's number 3. So the reason that I started a position, we started a position for the website, is what this does is it gives us good broad-based exposure to the entire market in an equal weight to offset some of our heavy market cap weighted positions in the NASDAQ 100 stocks. We have a SPY position that we've had for a while. We have a triple Q position that we've had for a while. So we've got some market cap weighted exposure. So with RSP, we get all 500 stocks equal weighted. And technically what I like about the chart is the first thing is it's breaking out to a new 52-week high. So if we take a look this morning, traded at 154.43, that's going to be a high going back to last April. It's got a very nice base that's setting up. Clean base breakouts are absolutely one of my favorite entries. It shows strength in the stock. We're breaking out to a new higher level. And if we take a look at the volume, the upside volume has been significant over the past 6 to 8 weeks or so. We can see starting in June, near the recent lows, we can see very high volume here. Here, there was a high volume down day, but if we look on the weekly chart, over the past 8 weeks, there's been 6 very high volume weeks. So this shows institutional accumulation. I think a lot of institutions are probably overweight some of the mega caps, overweight some of the market cap weighted. So what this does, at least for us, is it gives us exposure to the industrials, the consumer discretionary, everything, real estate sector that we don't have positions in. So it gives us a nice allocation to the market, especially with earnings season, which can be very choppy. So we like that chart breaking out to 52-week highs. Baker Hughes in the energy sector, one of my favorite charts overall. We do not have a position here yet. I've been waiting on some earnings to come through. But Baker Hughes in the oil services group, this group is stronger overall than the major integrated stocks, Exxon, Chevron, Marathon, some of those names. Now, those names are improving. But if we take a look at Baker Hughes in oil services, it recently broke out to a 52-week high. It had a very nice base breakout over $33. It's got good volume accumulation coming in. There's 4 rising moving averages. Everything on this chart is set up very, very nicely. Now, the markets are volatile. There could always be some pullback. Ideally for me, if there was maybe some type of consolidation where the 20-day moving average could catch up, that would be ideal. But the chart is set up fine exactly where it is, or if there was some near-term consolidation. But one of my favorite charts overall and that's in the energy sector, oil services. And then the last chart, we're going to show a few cyclical charts to round out the video. We do have a position here, Johnson Controls, in the industrial sector. So it's got the same chart structure that we look for. It's got 4 rising moving averages. It's in a primary uptrend. It just made a new 52-week high yesterday. So 69.90. If we take a look, that's a high going back to February. Now, I will say Johnson Controls does have earnings coming up, so that's something to be aware of. We don't advocate taking positions right ahead of earnings, but often we'll hold a position into earnings. It's based on a few factors, how the chart is acting. But in either case, just by looking at the chart, uptrend, rising moving averages, 52-week high. It's got some nice base support all in here, 62, 64, 67. It's got some nice support in a very strong industrial sector. I realistically probably could have brought maybe 15 or 20 different industrial sector charts with me today. So that group is setting up very nicely. So 5 ideas for today. We've got some key levels to watch. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day.